Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2022-23 season. My name is Dan and it's time for a video I've been really looking forward to making, and that is the Game Week 38 differentials video, a video where I'll be going through some of the ultimate differentials to help you boost your rank in this final game week. There's going to be something in this one for you, so if you do enjoy, do leave a like, do subscribe if you're new around here, but let's go through 20 players today, starting off with some of the main ones, and then we'll go to some honourable mentions after that. So we're going to go through, guys, from the least differential all the way up to the ultimate differentials, and 14% owned in the top 100k. Harry Kane, you can't really say he's a differential, and maybe I'm cheating a little bit here, but don't worry. Some of the other players are literally 0% owned. They are so crazy differential that no one's talking about them. But we're going to start off with Harry Kane, because I do think among those premium players, he is a player that not too many people are going to go for, and I do think he can make a difference in some of your mini leagues, and also don't think too many people are going to go in on him, particularly if that means having to sell the likes of Erling Haaland or Mo Salah. Kane is kind of a difficult player to get to right now, and maybe if Erling Haaland isn't playing in Game Week 38, we received the news that he is on the bench, then a straight swap to Harry Kane makes a lot of sense. An away fixture against Leeds is a good fixture by any standards. We saw struggling Leeds with everything to play for still concede 3 goals against West Ham last game week. Could have actually been 4 in that game as well. Maybe should have been 4 in that game. And he's playing against the Leeds are playing against Harry Kane, who could be playing his final game for Tottenham Hotspur. This is going to be huge. Harry Kane is so good already. This could be his final game for Spurs. He is also playing in a Spurs team that do need to win this game in order to get 7th place and play in the Europa Conference League as well. There is nothing really bad about this pick other than the cost of the player, but definitely a potential differential captain option for you guys. You can see his numbers are amazing recently. He's just been a really kind of undervalued hero of this FPL season. It's gone under the radar constantly, but with 1 game week left, maybe it is time to get in on those Harry Kane points. Okay, we're dropping down. Eberechi Eze, 3% owned within the top 100k. So, yeah, this is a little bit more of a differential, but I do have to say about Eze that he is kind of the differential for people who don't really want to go differential. And I say that because I am expecting a lot of people to go for Eze. I imagine that within the top, 100k, 200k, 300k, maybe even the top million FPL managers, we'll probably see Eze crawl away up to 25, 30, maybe even 35% ownership by the time we get to the Game Week 38 deadline, because I feel like he is a differential that everyone is going for, so much so that by the time we hit the deadline, he's just not going to be a differential anymore. But that doesn't mean he's a bad pick. He's definitely still a good pick, and he can make you some rank in this fantastic fixture against a Nottingham Forest team at home. This Forest team are already, they've avoided relegation now. They've got nothing to play for anymore. Obviously, neither has Crystal Palace, but Eze has been fantastic under Roy Hodgson, hasn't he? 3 goals and 1 assist in his last 5 game weeks. Decent underlying numbers as well, taking plenty of shots. It's going to be on penalties there as well, which is pretty nice. Free kicks as well, potentially. There's a lot of avenues for Eze to score FPL points, and he's really in some great form and will be looking to finish off the season very strongly. So, given his very nice cheap price, not a bad midfielder to go for at all. Okay, this is where the real differentials start, and 0.2% owned MADDISON. This is differential, okay, guys? This is differential. Now, one concern is that he only played the second half in that Leicester game versus Newcastle on Monday. So that is a small concern there, but he's got good underlying numbers. Very good underlying numbers. He hasn't always been getting the FPL returns necessarily, but the numbers look really good. Now, that is partially inflated by the fact he has taken a couple of penalties during this 5-game week period. So maybe that's inflated his numbers on XG a little bit, but you can still see that maybe he is underperforming a little bit, and maybe that does suggest that he could score more goals, he could get a couple more assists potentially. He's certainly shooting enough, he's certainly creating enough for his teammates in order for this to happen, so he could do pretty well. Obviously, Leicester have a lot to play with, must-win game at the weekend, so they really do need to win. They're playing against West Ham. West Ham, when they're playing away from home, have been one of the weakest defences in the league, so when we're talking about a Leicester team that, actually, you watch this Leicester team and you feel like this team can score goals if they want to. They didn't want to against Newcastle, but they could score goals if they wanted to against a team like West Ham, who are a defensively weak team when they play away from home. MADDISON, is he going to be one of the players involved in those attacking returns? Is he going to get his start against West Ham? If he does, then a lot of things are lining up to really create a really nice differential here, even if he is maybe slightly expensive. Dwight McNeil is going to be our next pick, coming at a very nice cheap price here, just over 5 million. And it's got Bournemouth at home. Again, Everton are a team in a must-win situation. They're in big danger of getting relegated, so they are going to want to win this game. And against Bournemouth at home, Bournemouth with nothing to play for, Bournemouth a team that does concede a lot of goals, then surely Everton, even a team like Everton, who do struggle to score goals sometimes, maybe they can do the business. Well, we saw them do the business against Brighton a couple of weeks ago, and Dwight McNeil was a big part of that. And we have seen recently that McNeil is the best attacker to go for from Everton. He's putting up the best attacking numbers by far compared to some of these other Everton players at the moment. Better than everyone else. Iwobi, Decore, they kind of look pretty pretty mediocre compared to McNeil. And of course, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I know some people are thinking about him. He's now confirmed injured for Game Week 38 as well. So it does look like the Dwight McNeil show must go on. Now, the one concern about McNeil is that Mykolenko is currently injured, and we're not sure if Mykolenko is going to be back for Game Week 38 or not. If he's not, then we are going to see McNeil play in the left-back position, as he did in Game Week 37. I want to see him a bit further forward. I want to see Mykolenko back in this team. If that's going to happen, McNeil is going to be fantastic, but I don't want to write him off completely, even if he is playing at left back, because he still can create a little bit there as well. But overall, I think he is a differential that a lot of us are looking at and thinking, given it's a Bournemouth game, given it's for an Everton team that must avoid relegation at all costs, and given that it's McNeil who is the best Everton attacker to go for, why not a decent differential? Can we go even more differential? Yes, we can. MBEUMO is 0.01% owned, which is just crazy, crazy low. 5.6 million forward. I know a lot of people will be going for him after a couple of decent returns in recent game weeks, but some people may be put off by this Manchester City fixture, which on paper looks quite bad. On the other hand, Brentford have a lot to play for in this game. They'll be looking to get Europa Conference League football, finish in 7th place. That will be their aim, and they can do that if they beat Man City, as long as the other results go their way as well. But if they have to beat Man City, this Man City team is a team very much on the beach. They're going to be rotating players. They are going to be a team that has nothing to play for at all. They're already in party season. They're just waiting for the FA Cup and Champions League games to roll around. We've got a little while until that, but Man City are not going to be full strength, and they're not going to be at full pelt, which is going to give a good team like Brentford an opportunity to score some goals against them, I think. So yeah, we've got Bryan MBEUMO as definitely an option in the forward position. Very cheap here at 5.6 million as well. Good underlying numbers. He'll be on penalties as well, which is always good. He'll be nailed on with no Tony there as well. Everything is kind of falling into place a lot for MBEUMO at the moment. He seems to be the father that stepped up, and rather than the stepfather if Tony is the father. So there we go. MBEUMO, real nice differential for us. Jacob Ramsey, another 0.01% owned player within the top 100k. Nobody has him right now. Pretty crazy. But yeah, he is a player who's got a couple of attacking returns recently. He seems to be on decent form over the last couple of games. 2 goals, 1.43 XG, 0.79 XA. So he's looking like he is creating a little bit as well. What I like about Ramsey, though, is that he is playing again for a team that is challenging for Europa Conference League football. With the win here against Brighton, Ramsey and Aston Villa, you know, they're guaranteed to finish 7th. So that's going to be a really, really good situation for them. They play against Brighton, a team that has played so many games recently that is absolutely crazy. Brighton are going to be resting their players once they've solidified top 6, which I think is pretty much done now anyway. I think Aston Villa have to beat Brighton, like, is it 8 or 9-0 maybe, in order to overtake them in the table, no matter what happens in Brighton's next game in Game Week 37. So, yeah, Brighton seem to be a team that will be on the beach at this point. Aston Villa are a team that are going to have to score a lot of goals, going to want to score a lot of goals to maybe try and get that Europa League spot. Don't think it's going to happen, but they will be on very, very good form, hopefully, in this game. And they're a great team in general, Aston Villa, at the moment anyway, playing against a knackered, leggy, tired, rotated Brighton team. It could be an absolute bloodbath in here. So yeah, Ramsey, 5.1 million midfielder, differential, and also that Brighton fixture is on Ramsey's birthday. So if you believe in birthday luck, maybe Ramsey is the pick for you. Okay, I'm going to throw one defender in here. I'm not too happy about having to throw defenders in here, but I know you guys are going to want a differential defender. It's very hard to pick them out, though. So, you know, take this with a little bit of a pinch of salt. Things can go very wrong with defenders, particularly those differential ones, as we all very well know. And also, guys, in Game Week 38, we always see so many goals. So I would be, if possible, trying to target attacking players rather than defensive players. We want to get in on those games that will have very high amount of goals. We often see in Game Week 38, every season, we see it probably around 4 goals per game. So, you know, there's lots of opportunity to get some attackers. But if you want to go for a defender, that's okay too. MINA is probably my favourite of the kind of ultra differential defenders, I guess. Playing against Bournemouth at home, Everton with a lot to play for, maybe looking to keep a clean sheet in here. Bournemouth have been struggling in goal to score goals a little bit recently. Not massively, but a little bit. They haven't been scoring a crazy amount or anything like that. And Everton are a team that can lock things down defensively when they want to. Obviously, you can see on screen, guys, 5 goals conceded, 4.73 expected goals conceded in the 3 games that MINA has played recently. But those included fixtures against both Man City and Brighton. So, you know, you're expected to concede goals against them. But what I'm more interested in with MINA is that not only do you think there's a good chance of a clean sheet here, but there is also a chance of attacking involvement. In these 3 games, he's had 1.25 expected goal involvements, which has included a goal in that as well last game week against Wolves. So he is a player who is a bit of a target man. You know, we know that Sean Dyche kind of Everton team, they are going to be looking to get some attacking returns from those corners, and MINA is very much a big part of that. So he should be playing in this final game. Very cheap, good chance of a clean sheet, an okay chance of an attacking return in there, which does equate to mega scores from a defender. It's high risk, high reward. If you want to go for a differential defender, that not many other people will be even thinking about the defense in general, even, you know, definitely not considering like specific defenders from Everton. MINA, maybe an interesting shout. Don't know what you guys think about that one. And the final of the top 8 goes to Yoane Wissa. So Wissa is playing as the central striker at the moment. He is the new Tony, essentially. And we've seen the last couple of games where he's now nailed on 2 goals and an assist in his last 2 games, which is quite phenomenal. Fairly decent underlying numbers as well. But the fact that he's a midfielder means that if he scores the same amount of goals, gets the same amount of assists as the likes of MBEUMO, for example, then Wissa gets an extra point for a goal. He gets an extra point for a clean sheet there. It's all really good stuff. So if you are looking to get in on the Brentford attack, but maybe can't quite do that in your attacking positions, in your forward slots, you can't really get to an MBEUMO for your forward slot, then maybe you have a midfield slot open for Wissa. So Wissa, I really like this one. I think this is a really interesting differential. No one's talking about him. No one owns him. Super hyper mega differential that is doing really well over the last couple of games, playing against a rotated and tired and nothing to play for Man City team who just probably can't be bothered and just want to get on with the cup games. Hey, maybe we could get a couple of goals here from Brentford, and why not Wissa? And let's finish off with some honourable mentions. I've got a couple of Arsenal players in here. Odegaard, Saka and Jesus are playing against Nottingham Forest, and maybe they'll be looking to finish the season off strongly. The Arsenal midfielders and attackers, they're not super differential, but I guess they're okay. But I definitely would prefer Odegaard, Saka and Jesus to the likes of Trossard. Don't really see the point in going for Trossard when you can get Odegaard for the same price. We've got Cody Gakpo and Van Dijk here if you want to go in on a couple of slightly differential Liverpool players against Southampton. I guess that's okay. I'm a little bit worried about Gakpo, whether he's actually going to start the game or not, though. So we'll see what happens there. Van Dijk should be good to start, but, you know, you are depending on clean sheets and an attacking return to really get the mega points there. So, again, defenders, I wouldn't ideally like to go for, but I wanted to throw a couple of them in here as just suggestions, I guess. Ollie Watkins, there is the potential to go back in on him. Only 1.1% owned in the top 100k now, so a lot of people have been removing Watkins recently, but maybe we could think about bringing him back in that really nice final game of the season against Brighton. We've got Heung-min Son, so if you wanted to go a little bit differential in terms of Spurs attackers, you don't want to go for Harry Kane. Son is putting up reasonably good numbers at the moment. Not so good as Harry Kane, obviously, but you still think that Son against Leeds, a team that do concede so many chances, maybe Son is going to be able to do the business there. We've got Jared Bowen, pretty good form recently, doing okay, maybe slightly slightly too expensive potentially, but I do think that West Ham versus Leicester game does does have goals in it. And if there's going to be goals on the West Ham side, Jarrod Bowen is probably the best answer. I've got Rodrigo here as well from Leeds, if you fancy him against Spurs. In general, I don't really fancy the Leeds players in general. I think they're a little bit too risky to go for, but I know some people will be thinking about Rodrigo. One small concern about Rodrigo and Bamford, for that matter, is they're both carrying minor injuries at the moment, so I'm not even 100% sure if they're going to start. If they do start, are they going to be able to play the full game? If they do play the full game, are they going to be at 100%? Are they going to be at full power? Probably not. And we'll finish off with the honourable mentions of 3 super low owned Leicester players, because nobody really owns Leicester players right now. But Harvey Barnes, a cheap alternative to Maddison. We've got Jamie Vardy and Iheanacho here as well. I'm not sure who's going to start. I think Iheanacho, coming off the back of an injury, was able to play 45 minutes against Newcastle. Maybe he's going to be able to play the full 90 against West Ham at the weekend. If he does, then I actually think Iheanacho could be a really, really nice little differential pick there that nobody is talking about. Nobody seems to rate Iheanacho at all. But if he can get, you know, 75, 80, 85 minutes against West Ham at the weekend, I think Iheanacho could actually do the business. Vardy I'm not so confident in, but I know, you know, maybe people feel like he's a bit of a safer option to go for, and Vardy will be on penalties, of course, as well, you would think, ahead of Maddison. I think, not sure, maybe Leicester fans can fill me in on that one, but there are some honourable mentions for you. And that's all the differentials I've got for you today, but I'm sure you guys have some questions about some others. So if there's any other differentials that you want to get my opinion on, please do drop a comment of that differential, and I'll kind of let you know what I think about that one, or maybe you've come up with some great ideas that I haven't thought of myself. But hopefully you did enjoy this video regardless and found a few interesting players that maybe you would consider to try and make the difference in Game Week 38. There's certainly a lot of players that I've really enjoyed researching today, and I enjoyed making this video in general. Love differentials. But if you liked it, do drop a like, do subscribe if you are new around here. Plenty of other Game Week 38 videos on the channel already, and there will be some more as well, so do make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. But aside from that, guys, thank you so much for watching once again, and I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.